saw a video of a woman who was talking about how we always talk about how we as women settle. And we do, countlessly, time and time again. But men also settle too. But it's not necessarily for the same reasons why we might settle. For example, we settle because we want to hurry up and get married and we want to have kids. So we tend to settle down with the first guy who is willing to go along that journey with us, even though they might have some quirks that are actually annoying to us. They might have some icks that are icky. We might not necessarily be physically attracted to them right off the bat. There might even be an extreme of red flags that we are choosing to ignore. But hey, they're willing to go along with this journey of making us a wife and making us a mother. So we're going to go along with that too. So yes, we do settle. Men, however, settle for who is going to serve them the most. So I heard somebody else talk about this not too long ago about how a lot of men don't really marry their dream woman. They marry the woman who they can get the most benefit out of, who was going to boost his career, who was going to have his children to build his legacy, but then also take care of those children so that he doesn't have to worry about them. And then we can also have a discussion about invisible children. I saw a woman, I should really start remembering these creators' names so I could tag them. She made a whole post about there's a celebrity who no one had any clue that he had a whole 5-year-old. And that's possible because of the labor of women, the moms, keeping the kids out of the way so that the dad can flourish. And she also kind of ventured off on the exit of how many female celebrities completely gave up their career while the male celebrity parent continued to work. I'll use myself as an example. I know for a fact that my ex-husband settled for me. He spent the entire relationship and marriage nitpicking and trying to change me. He was just never satisfied with me. No matter what I did, I could never make him happy. However, I did cook, I did clean, I did birth some children. I took care of those children, kept those children out of the way, and gave up everything, including my soul practically, to make sure that he was able to do whatever stupid shit at the moment that he wanted to do. However, he still abused me. He still cheated on me, and that was still a Wes Craven movie of a nightmare marriage. As someone who has spent several years working in the jewelry industry, the amount of men who would come in and just admit, bold-faced, I'm just getting this ring so my girlfriend would shut up. I'm getting this ring because I cheated on my girlfriend and she caught me, and I'm hoping if I buy her this, she'll forgive me. They're not happy in that relationship. That's not who they really want to be with. Not saying that the woman isn't wonderful. That's not what I'm saying. Calm down. Stay focused. That was not who they really wanted to be with. But that woman was giving them something that benefited them, and they had to keep her around, even though those men cheated, even though they were just a warm body and completely inactive in that relationship. And unfortunately, out of all my years in the jewelry industry, I only had one guy return the ring because the woman didn't accept it because he cheated on her, and she was like, hell no, I hope she is flourishing and doing well, as she should. What makes all that unfortunate, although I'm glad my good sis turned that guy down, the unfortunate part is all the other women who accepted the ring and went on to marry these men. Also, I worked with 2 different women. Both had been married 3 times before they had met their current husband or fiance. One of them had been married thrice before. Nothing wrong being married multiple times. Sometimes, men just don't be men, and I don't know. But the one had been married 3 times, and on her 4th husband, she constantly bragged that she found the one, how well they got along, how awesome he was. And then as I got to know her, she would tell me stories about how he would go in his room and never come out, and he acted like he really didn't want to be around her. The second woman was super religious and claimed that she was called to be a wife. Her 4th marriage was going to be to a man who was once her ex, and they got back together, and she bragged about how it was just amazing, and they grew up, blase, and reconnected. But as I got to know her, as it turns out, the guy was a bum, and she wasn't really even sure if she wanted to be with him, but she just felt called to be a wife by God. But both of those women were doing so much for those men that as awful as those men weren't going to go anywhere. This is why so many men are miserable in their marriages, and you know they are, but they're not going to file for divorce. They're not going to go anywhere. Are you kidding? I get my food every day. I get my lunch packed for me, my clothes ironed, my clothes washed. I have my kids, but when I come home from work, all I got to do is be a little grumpy, and you're going to keep those kids away from me. I can still go out with my friends every weekend and keep my golf or basketball habit or do whatever the fuck I want to do in my life. It's not going to change because you are going to give up your life to make sure that my life doesn't change. As a matter of fact, I'm going to continue to flourish, and if I were to decide to leave you, your life is going to be in shambles because I, the man, have been your entire world, and you cannot survive without me. So if I ever left the equation, you would fall and you would have to rebuild. You would probably be broke. Some prenups can be argued in court. And even if you get the house and he's forced and banished to move into a 1-bedroom studio apartment, he's going to live like a fucking bachelor while you're working one tough job or maybe multiple jobs to keep the fucking lights on. And if the judge orders him to pay child support, that don't mean shit to a lot of these men. So yes, men definitely settle. And the sad part about it is a lot of us feel that. Again, I'm not saying that you aren't amazing. You are. I'm saying they settle in a way of who will serve me the best. And we can feel that in their indifference in the relationship and their inactivity in the relationship, and the fact that Mother's Day seems to be the only day that we get a break, which is fucking you only get one break a year. Insane to me. Some women don't even get that. The fact that when they give you gifts, if they give you gifts, it's random shit that has nothing to do with who you are as a person and things that you actually like. It's why you have to beg them to do things with you. It's why you've gotten to the point where even though you are married and sleeping next to someone, you are doing things by yourself because you know they aren't going to do anything with you, when you've convinced yourself that this is just okay and it's how it's supposed to be when it's not. This is why I'm so passionate about the fact that we need to normalize divorce. All the way in 2024, we have divorce so stigmatized as this horrible, tragic thing that breaks up a family. When statistics prove time and time again that the best gift you can give your children isn't a mom that's wed to the dad, it is a happy, well-rested mom. Divorce isn't always a bad thing. There are kids. I am a child at one point who begged my parents to get a divorce. We need to normalize if that man ain't doing shit and he ain't making no changes, fuck him. I don't want my love, my existence to someone to simply be tolerated because they're benefiting off of me in some way. Absolutely not.